What's up, guys? Welcome to Kid Shot Connor. I'm Connor. UFC 325 has come and gone. Alexander the Great Volkanovski has defeated Diego Lopez once again in what was a very needless title fight, if I'm being honest. Kind of like we were all saying heading into this fight. Benoit Saint Denis beat the absolute shit out of Dan Hooker, and Tai Tuivasa and Talson Teixeira had a brutal, sloppy heavyweight mess of a fight. We're gonna get into all this and more, and we're also gonna get into if I think Alexander the Great Volkanovski is the greatest featherweight of all time in MMA. But before we do that, guys, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends, do all that fun shit. I'd very much appreciate it. All right, let's get into the fun stuff then here, guys. Of course, in your main event, Alexander Volkanovski defeated Diego Lopez via unanimous decision. I gave him every round personally. I think two of the three judges gave him a 49-46, thus giving him 4 of the 5 rounds. I gave him every round. I know there's some debate on the third round considering he got dropped that round, but I believe he also dropped Diego Lopez that round, and I think he just landed more and looked a bit more active during that round as well. So I gave that round to Alexander Volkanovski. And other than that, I mean, great performance for other than getting dropped. Great performance for Volkanovski. I thought it was vintage Volkanovski. This fight, I think this will be one of the ones we look back on in his career and point at and be like, hey, if you want to see how good Alexander Volkanovski actually was, go watch this fight because he really showed up and showed out here. It's very impressive what Volk is able to do, especially considering his size disadvantage that he has going into a lot of these fights. You know, he's just more of a short, stocky guy. And it's funny because he fights so long, you know, like he uses the jab a lot. He uses a lot of leg kicks with his left leg and you know, other types of kicks, and he fights like a guy that's tall and long, but he's short and stocky. It's kind of amazing to see, and it works for him. It works for him very well. Fun fight here. Again, like I was saying in the beginning of the video, a very needless title shot for Diego Lopez once again. We did not need to see this 9 months later. I actually think it would have benefited Diego Lopez much more if he would have got 1 or 2 more fights in before rematching Volk again. Especially considering that Volk would have been even older. I mean, he's 38 now. It would have been if Diego Lopez would have waited till he's 39, 40. If Volk plans on staying around that long, that is. And I get it from Diego Lopez's standpoint. You got to take the title shots as they're given to you, but I really do think it would have benefited Diego Lopez a lot more if he would have taken more time, more fights, gotten better, and then also let Volk get older, and then maybe he could beat him in like another year from now, another 2 years from now, possibly. Again, don't know if Volkanovski would have stayed around that long, but it just sucks because for Diego Lopez now you're in a position where you're never going to get another title shot as long as Volkanovski is there. Granted, like I've been saying, it doesn't seem like Volkanovski's going to be staying around all that long, so not the worst thing in the world for Diego Lopez, and we'll get into what I think is next for him. Of course, the big question coming out of this now is Alexander Volkanovski the greatest featherweight of all time? In my mind, and I think in most MMA fans' mind, the consensus is between these three. It's between Jose Aldo, it's between Max Holloway, and between Alexander Volkanovski now. You know, a strong debate could still be made for Jose Aldo still being the greatest featherweight of all time. Of course, captured the WEC title way back in the day, which was pretty much the premier featherweight MMA league at that point. That point in time, there was no featherweight in the UFC, and so this was pretty much where the best of the best featherweights fought each other. And Jose Aldo ruled that for a short time. I believe he had 3 title fight wins in the WEC. Matt Brown, I believe, is the one who he captured the belt from. Had a title defense in the WC against Rai Faber, and then one against Manny Gambirian as well. And then he got when the UFC decided to shut down WEC, they just merged the division into the UFC. And then Jose Aldo became the undisputed UFC featherweight champion, defended his title against Mark Hominick, and you know the story from there. Had many title fight victories, beat guys like Chad Mendes, beat Chad Mendes twice actually, Frankie Edgar twice, Korean Zombie, Ricardo Ramos, Mark Hominick, like I said, just tons of guys, tons of victories, tons of big wins, and really put the featherweight division and the lighter weight divisions on the map. You know, it really is because of him that divisions like bantamweight and even lightweight to some extent are so popular nowadays, it is a lot of that is thanks to Jose Aldo. Max Holloway, of course, went on a crazy 10-fight win streak just to get to an undisputed title fight in the UFC. It's one of those guys that was fighting every 3-4 months for a long time, working his way up the division, and it did not take the easy road to get there at all. When he finally did get there, was able to defend the belt a couple times against Frankie Edgar, Brian Ortega, and of course goes on to lose the belt to Volkanovski in 2 title fights. He lost 2 title fights in a row to Volkanovski. Goes back to the drawing board, gets some wins over Calvin Kattar, and which is probably Max Holloway's best win is the Calvin Kattar fight. I mean, if you want to point to like, hey, go watch this Max Holloway fight. If you're like a newer fan, and you don't know who Max Holloway is, this is probably the one you point to. It's probably the most entertaining one. And then continued on, of course, lost to Volk again. And then we get to Volkanovski, who, of course, went on a long win streak in the UFC to capture the UFC featherweight title, beat guys like Jose Aldo, beat guys like Chad Mendes. Of course, those guys at that time were a little bit past their prime. But then as soon as he got the belt, had to defend it twice against Max Holloway, and that just speaks for itself. And it's a prime Max Holloway as well, you know. It's like, and I would argue Max Holloway is still in his prime right now, but he was even younger and probably even a little bit better back when Volkanovski was fighting him in the early 2020s. And just super impressive title defenses. Of course, then also had a title defense against the Korean Zombie. You guys know how that one went. Of course, Korean Zombie way past his prime at that point, but also has title fight wins over Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez as well. And so who is it between with these guys? For my money, I think I lean slightly Volk here. I think Holloway's probably out of the discussion just because of lack of title fight victories, I think, even though his resume is still extremely impressive. Jose Aldo and Alexander Volkanovski are actually tied in UFC specifically title fight victories. And so I just think Volkanovski has a little bit of the edge here because of the level of opponents, the level of opposition in Alexander Volkanovski's title fights. Jose Aldo still was fighting the best of the best, but I don't think they were quite as good as Volkanovski's opponents were. So I can still see the argument being made for Jose Aldo, but for my money, I think it is Volkanovski, and especially if Volkanovski does get one more in. We're gonna talk about what I think is next for Volkanovski in a minute here. But if he's able to cement his legacy with one more win over an undefeated guy in Laurent Murphy or Mozart Evloev, then I think it's really not up for debate anymore. And he just only needs 1-1. So I lean towards Volkanovski personally as the greatest featherweight of all time in MMA. Just at the moment, and especially if he gets one more in. If he loses that one, then it might slide back to Jose Aldo. It's neck and neck between the two right now. But Volk is very close to cementing it as him at the top of that mountain. For Alexander Volkanovski next, we were just talking about it. I want to see Mozart Evloev or Laurent Murphy. And funny enough, just this morning, the UFC has announced that Mozart Evloev and Laurent Murphy will be headlining the UFC London card on March 21st, 2026. So I can't wait for that fight, and that should guarantee the winner of that fight a title shot next. And I'll be very much looking forward to that. 2 undefeated guys going up against each other. I lean slightly towards Mozart. What are we? We're about 2 months out for that now, a little more. And I lean towards Mozart. I think his wrestling ability is going to be a little bit too much for Laurent Murphy here, but who knows, man? I was also picking Aaron Pico against Laurent Murphy back when that fight was happening, and we all remember how that one ended up going. So, but I will very much be looking forward to Volkanovski fighting the winner of this. Hopefully they can set that up for like late summer, early fall, August, September time period. That would be fantastic. And I would favor Volk in both of these matchups at the moment. I think he'd be able to outpoint Laurent Murphy on the feet if that ended up happening. And then I think he'd be able to defend off enough of Mozart Evloev's grappling in that fight to capture a decision there as well. And possibly put either guy away. I don't know. I'd love to see Volk get another finish here sometime soon. But yeah, I would be favoring Volkanovski in both of these fights. So hopefully they set that one up soon. And I would very much be looking forward to it. For Diego Lopez next, like we were talking about in the beginning of the video here a little bit. I don't think you're not in the worst position in the world if you're Diego Lopez. You're still a fan favorite. People still love watching you fight, so that's good. You have a win over John Silva, a very recent win over John Silva, who's now a top 5, top 10 kind of guy in the UFC rankings. I think he's ranked like 6 right at the moment. I think he took Allen's spot there. So for Diego Lopez, just go get a few wins. Wait for Volkanovski to retire. Like I was saying, it's probably only 1 or 2 years more at most for Volkanovski. I could even see a world if Volkanovski goes up to lightweight and Diego Lopez could slide right in there. Clearly, the UFC loves him. I mean, look at the title shot they just gave him. So clearly, the UFC favors him greatly, and they probably want him to be champion. So he's in a very good position still. He's just gonna have to go get a few wins. Maybe not even a few, maybe just 2, and then he'll probably be right back in the mix, and we'll be talking about another title shot for Diego Lopez. I'm gonna suggest Arnon Allen. I know a lot of people want the Yair Rodriguez fight. I think that could still happen. Yair Rodriguez is just so inactive. I just don't know when he's going to want to fight again. And I would bet Diego Lopez is going to want to fight again fairly soon here. I mean, we're in the beginning of February right now, so I could see a world where Diego Lopez is ready to go in May, June, July, that kind of time period. And I'm hopeful Arnon Allen stays a little bit more active this year as well. So I think you set this fight up. It's a great fight, great personalities, and it should be a really fun matchup if they do throw down. Of course, John Silva just beat Arnon Allen last weekend at UFC 324. So both guys coming off a loss. So I think it makes a lot of sense. In your co-main event, Benoit Saint-Denis defeated Dan Hooker via TKO round 2. Tough one here to watch for Dan Hooker fans. He was looking very good on the feet too, I thought, for majority of that fight. Was really working the body on Benoit Saint-Denis quite a bit. But BSD, man, BSD is just a fucking monster. This dude just walks forward and with reckless abandon a lot of times, and just does not care. He's gonna figure out a way to win the fight, and that's what he did here. I was talking about it in the pre-show a lot. Is like I wanted to see what would happen when BSD is met with a lot of adversity in one of these fights. If he was gonna shut down again, like he kind of did in the Moicano fight, like he kind of did in the Dustin Poirier fight. And that didn't happen. He definitely proved me wrong here. I was picking Hooker going into this, and I thought I was kind of on to something the way the fight was going. But then Dan Hooker goes for the dumbest takedown of all time in round 2, ends up getting switched around, and Benoit Saint-Denis ends up on top, and it was pretty much a wrap from there. BSD put a fucking ass whooping on him when they got to the ground. Was throwing up all kinds of submissions, almost had Dan Hooker in an arm triangle at one point, and then just started landing brutal ground and pound on Dan Hooker until the ref had to stop the fight. It was a bit of a late stoppage too, if I'm being honest. Like that ref gave Dan Hooker every chance to get out of that, and then just couldn't find a way out. Very unfortunate for him, but BSD, man, he has cemented himself as a top lightweight here. Has really bounced back impressively from those 2 losses to Poirier and Moicano, on a 4-fight win streak now. Looking damn impressive. I still wonder what happens when BSD. I feel like his kryptonite is going to be really good kickboxers that have somewhat good takedown defense and really good get-ups, and that's kind of Dan Hooker's style there a little bit. But like, I almost want to see BSD against a guy like Fiziev or something. I know Fiziev just lost, but like, good takedown defense, good get-ups, and then really elite level striking. I think BSD is going to have a lot of trouble with those kind of guys. But for BSD next, I say we just throw him in with Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan should be getting a title shot. I 100% agree with the sentiment that Arman Tsarukyan should be fighting Ilia Topuria next. I don't give a fuck about the interim title that Justin Gaethje has. Arman Tsarukyan is the #1 contender. The problem is they're not going to give it to him. They're going to do Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje next for the lightweight title, considering they just gave Justin Gaethje the interim belt. And that is a big fight, and I think the UFC favors Justin Gaethje a lot more than they favor Arman Tsarukyan, clearly. So I think Arman Tsarukyan's going to need to fight someone. I don't think it's a good idea to wait for the winner of Oliveira on Holloway, because who knows when the winner of that's going to be ready to fight again. I mean, they might not be ready to fight again until fall, and by that point, the winner of Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje might be ready to fight again. So. And I also just don't think it's a good idea for Arman Tsarukyan to sit out and not fight. I think this dude needs to keep fighting. He's in his prime right now. Go keep your name in the mix. Keep getting big wins. And this should be a winnable fight for Arman Tsarukyan. So I don't think it's that big a deal. We'll have Justin Gaethje and Ilia Topuria fight probably at that White House card or somewhere in that vicinity Ilya Sporia will more than likely knock out Justin Gaethje. Arman Tsarukyan will more than likely beat Benoit Saint Denis, and then they can fight in the fall. That's kind of how I see this going. That's how I would like to see this going. And obviously, if you're BSD, this is a great fight for you because this could easily slide. If you were able to get past Arman Tsarukyan, you would be next in line for the title shot, and the UFC would probably be more than willing to give that to him. But like I said, I really hope I just wake up one day and the UFC has announced Ilya Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan. Justin Gaethje can wait his turn, in my opinion. But if not, set up BSD Arman Tsarukyan. In the next fight, Mauricio Ruffi defeats Rafael Fiziev via TKO round 2. Brutal go for Rafael Fiziev here. Man, this Mauricio Ruffi guy, good luck standing up with him. Any strikers in that lightweight division got to be terrified of this guy because if he's knocking out Rafael Fiziev, he's going to do that to anyone that's willing to stand with him in this lightweight division. That I definitely believe that leaving this fight. I think Mauricio Ruffi is probably the best striker we have at lightweight, which is probably the best division in the UFC, which makes him one of the best strikers in the UFC. Which is just a crazy thing to say considering this guy wasn't even on the map a year or two ago. But nonetheless, was a fun fight during the first round. In the second round, a lot of Fiziev walking forward, putting pressure on. Ruffy kind of picking his shots a bit more. Fiziev picking his shots a lot, and was a really fun technical kickboxing match while it was happening. And then Mauricio Ruffy just found this beautiful right hand, spins Rafael Fiziev all the way around, and ends up getting the TKO via ground and pound immediately following that. And yeah, man, this guy just cemented himself as a top 10 lightweight in the world. For Mauricio Ruffi next, I'm gonna suggest Michael Chandler. I don't think Michael Chandler is gonna end up getting this Conor McGregor fight at the White House, and I just think it'd be fucking hilarious if we gave Michael Chandler Mauricio Ruffi, who's pretty much a prime version of Conor McGregor back in the day. It's like 2015 Conor McGregor fighting style has come back, and I just think it'd be hilarious. Like, no, sorry, Mike, we can't give you the Conor fight, but how about fighting Conor from 2015? Would you like that one? And do it at the White House too. The way I'm setting up this White House card is just a bunch of Americans getting knocked out. I'm American as well, so but I just think it'd be fucking hilarious if we just set up a bunch of Americans on this card and they all get fucking starched. And right now I have Ilya Topuria and Justin Gaethje on that card. Gaethje getting starched, and then Michael Chandler, Mauricio Ruffi on that card. Chandler getting starched. What a beautiful thing that would be. But nonetheless, Mauricio Ruffi, Michael Chandler, that's the one I'm suggesting now. Next, I could also see the Renato Moicano fight if Mauricio Ruffi wants to come in on short notice. I know they're looking for someone to fight Renato Moicano on that March 6th pay-per-view card for the co-main event of Holloway and Charles Oliveira. So I could see if Mauricio Ruffi, you want to do a quick turnaround and fight Renato Moicano real quick, you know? I could see that one happening. That wouldn't surprise me if the UFC tries to set that one up. Remember that Esteban Ribovic might be getting that fight, by the way, and that would be fucking awesome. In your next fight on the main card, Talison Teixeira defeated Tai Tuivasa via unanimous decision in just the sloppiest heavyweight fight the world has ever seen. These guys were just dead tired by round 3. Tai Tuivasa, man, if he just had a little more gas in the tank on that third round, he could have got him out of there. I'm still not very impressed with Talison Teixeira. If you watch my pre-show, you already know I haven't been that impressed by Talison Teixeira in the 3 fights he's had in the UFC thus far. 2 fights, actually, on the pre-show is what I was talking about. But yeah, nonetheless, still not very impressed by Talison Teixeira. The dude definitely needs to start working on his conditioning if he's going to be able to hang with this this horrible heavyweight division. The heavyweight division is just so fucking bad right now, guys. And and you know it's bad because Tai Tuivasa was still ranked and he was on a 5-fight win streak going into this. He was ranked 12 going into this fight. He was on a 5-fight losing streak. Absolutely fucking insane. Heavyweight is in shambles. I don't know what you do here. Talison Teixeira, good job on getting the win, but I don't know. The third round was absolutely hilarious. It was a very sloppy fight, but nonetheless, I had a good time watching it. For Talison Teixeira next, I'm gonna suggest Shamil Gaziev. I think Shamil Gaziev coming off that loss to Waldo Cortez Acosta from back in October, and I just think Shamil Gaziev kind of one of the only guys that's available ahead of him in the rankings, and just whatever. If we're gonna keep Taliesin Teixeira in the rankings, fuck it. Give him Shamil Gaziev, the GOAT. Shamil should get him out of there, knock out round 1 pretty easy. For Tai Tuivasa next, I hope they don't cut him. 6-fight losing streak now. He probably deserves to be cut. In fact, he definitely deserves to be cut. But fuck that. Let's just keep Tai Tuivasa around. He's fine. Just give him some cans. Get him on that Derek Lewis contract. You know, let's give him. And granted, Derek Lewis did just knock out Taliesin Teixeira, so I don't know. Maybe Derek Lewis is just a little bit ahead of Tai Tuivasa at this point in their games. But nonetheless, let's keep Tai Tuivasa around. Give him some guys that are like 0-2. You know, where's some shitty heavyweights at? We got a fuck ton of them. Just give him to Tai Tuivasa. Get this man a win, damn it. Shamil Gaziev, the GOAT, though. He will absolutely annihilate Taliesin Teixeira, I promise you guys. In your last fight on the main card, Killian Salakid defeated Jamie Mulaki via sub round 1. Yeah, was the biggest favorite heading into this card. Absolutely looked like it during the fight as well. Able to get a quick, nice takedown. Was looking good on the feet for most of that fight, too. Anyways, he got a quick, nice takedown, took the back, choked him out. Easy. Easy win for Quillian. I forget how we're pronouncing his name, whatever. And this dude's making a name for himself at this lightweight division here. I think we need to slow down a little bit on trying to throw him into the top 10 of this lightweight division here, or top 15 or whatever, giving him a ranked opponent next. Unless maybe he wants to fight Renato Moicano on that on the next pay-per-view in that co-main event. I know they're looking for someone, so I don't know. Maybe if he wants to throw his hat in there, yeah, why not? I'd be down. Renato Moicano, Killian Salakid. That sounds like a great fight, but I'm gonna suggest Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan on a 4-fight win streak. So Salakid. So you could easily set that one up, and then maybe winner gets someone in the rankings, you know, and then Chris Duncan. Rumored that Chris Duncan might be fighting Jalen Turner next. That hasn't been officially announced, so if they're not going ahead with that one, I think Quillian Salakid, Chris Duncan is a great fight to make in the meantime. Chris Duncan, of course, just puts on nothing but wars every time he's in there. And I'd like to see a little adversity for Quillian here in his next fight. Let's see what happens when he doesn't get the fight out of the first round in the next one. I think he has one decision win in the UFC, but definitely against lower ranked opponents, lower class opponents, that is. So I would love to see him against Chris Duncan. I think that's a fantastic fight. Could throw that on a fight night. Fuck it, throw him in the Apex. Who cares? Here goes a look at the rest of the main card there. Feel bad for Oban Elliott, riding a 2-fight win streak now. Big fan of that guy. Was some fun fights on the whole road to UFC theme, but all in all, name value wise, certainly the prelims were pretty terrible. But nonetheless, some decently entertaining fights. I actually think next week's prelims at the Apex are way better than this week's prelims were. So take that for what it is. But yeah, good card. What do we want to rank this card for a post-fight rating here? I'm gonna give it a 7.9. I think it was a very good card, very entertaining card. Just name value wise, wasn't entirely there the whole time, and then the title shot at the top of it. Really never felt the hype going into that title fight, and then it just kind of ended up looking exactly like the first fight. So was a very unnecessary title shot for Diego Lopez, and that kind of brings down the card a little bit, in my opinion. But nonetheless, good card from the UFC. Going back to the Apex next week, looking forward to that. Vinicius Oliveira, Murray Batista going at it in the main event for that one. I'll be doing a preview for that, so keep an eye out for that video as well. Should be up on Wednesday-ish. And thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel and all that, and I'll see you in the next one.